All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to give you a personal walkthrough of all of the Series 7 models that are going to go live for crowdfunding on February 16th. So first off, we have the Privateier Frigate Fortuna. This is a kind of classic pirate style ship that has that was quite popular within this series, and today is my favorite model that I've put together. It is absolutely incredible from all of the different building techniques that went into this model. Brick Perfection did a wonderful job with it. You can see that there isn't a flat surface on any part of this whole ship. It is completely contoured from front to back, and then maintains the kind of waterline view of the ship there. Um, it's quite impressive. All of the different techniques you'll see. There's half plate differences between each of it to kind of give it a nice arcing shape to it, and then also from the front to back, it also has some subtle curve to it. So it really adds a lot of character to it. Um, One of the other really cool things about this ship is that it is there's so many different play features that are built into this model and the functionality that works within this model. You have all of the gun ports here that can open and close. You can kind of run out the cannons. There's 20 cannons, I want to say, that were on the ship. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So 18 cannons from front to back, plus the two cannons that are off the front of the ship, and then two off the stern. So for a total of 22 cannons, that's impressive. It's got quite the armament. So each of the cannons can individually be moved out and put into place. And then one of the changes that we worked with the fan designer on was for the rigging. So you can see that now with the new rigging, it has handholds for minifigures to be able to climb the mast and to be posed in precarious situations all throughout, and then to make it all the way up to the bird's nest at the top.
We do have a question online asking if we can place Fortuna next to Tortuga for size comparison.
Yeah, I guess we could. We have a Tortuga up in the display here. And so, yeah, let's see if we can move it back a little bit. Well, that gives you a good idea of how big Fortuna is. It is longer. I mean, the ship itself without the front mast is almost exactly the same length as the whole Tortuga model itself. So it is quite large. Um, but definitely with the 20 minifigures that are included with this set, it is not crowded by any means in here. This is quite a large model. Um, and there's a lot of really cool features throughout this model as well. So we talked about some of the cannons and some of the features that are there. Each of the decks can be removed so that you can get to, so for example, the lifeboat here can be pulled out. You can pull the front deck off. I'll move this minifigure off because it's blocking the way here. But so this can come up and off here. And you're able to get to the front here. So this section comes up and off. And then you can see where there is a food broiler out in the front here. This is where the cook is at. And then we also have sections in the back here that will lift up and off. And you can see the different compartments within the ship as well.
We have another question online. Did the original version of the frigate have the cross pieces on the rigging shrouds?
The cross pieces. I'm not sure what that is in reference to, the cross pieces on the shroud.
With the minifigs, I think. That turns the anchor.
The cross, yeah, but that isn't to do with the rigging though. I'll get to that and show you how the anchor chains work, because that's also a very cool feature that works with it as well. But each of there was only very minor changes that were made to the rigging itself and some of the masts up here. There's a new element, this kind of 1x5 Technic element that was able to kind of smooth out a lot of the masts, where before it was just an axle, it was a bare axle. And that added a lot more detail and uniformity across all of the sails there. But not a whole lot else changed up in the top here. Just some minor dimensional changes to make sure that the strings lined up where they properly needed to, and to make sure that everything was pretty stable across. So this area down here changed ever so slightly just to increase, because I believe this element is one stud less in length compared to the this element here that used to be used for some of the rigging. But that added a little bit more detailing to the kind of some of the turnbuckles and things that are down here in the rigging. But yeah, so through here in the back, you can see the captain's quarters that is here. And then that leads into additional cannons that are hidden under here, an armory. So there are plenty of sabers and muskets and all kinds of things to arm your soldiers with. And then we can get into one of the most fun and real technical things that are included in this model. And these are the anchors off the front. So if we put the anchor down, we can put it to the middle, and we can drop the anchor all the way out. And this will drop it all the way out. Now we can take some of our deckhands here, and on the side of the model, you will see these 3L lightsaber bars. And these can be put in the hands of the minifigures and then inserted into the chain here, which will bring this up. Let me grab the next one here. So there's 4 of these that go all the way around. I'm just going to demonstrate with 2 of them right now. But so the minifigures, if you run out all of your cannon, this is the selector switch for which side you would like the anchor to be raised. So you have a neutral in the middle, you have your right and your left. And then if we come down here to the anchor, as we spin around, this will, oh, I put them in the wrong direction. So this will let them come up. The minifigures will slowly work this around, and that is how you raise the anchors. And if you do the opposite side, you can switch to the opposite side, and that will, if I slowly pull it out, you can see how they will all move around to lower the anchor. And then it's the same. If we were to pretend we flip them around and they spin the opposite direction, that's how you raise the anchor. So all of the anchors are fully functional. There's a really cool Technic gear mechanism with a drivetrain in there that allows this to work. It is such a cool feature within this model. Any questions regarding the?
So we have a few
anchor?
questions online, not regarding the anchor, but about the flags. Are stickers or prints?
They are stickers. So everything within BDP is almost always going to be stickers that are custom, unique to these elements. So as a reminder, we have to use existing elements within the active palette. And so therefore, if it's something that isn't currently in production that is already printed, then we cannot use it, or then we won't have a printed version of that per se. So one of the questions that we were getting is, or that I've been seeing is, there's 24 stickers in this model. Where did all these stickers come from? And 20 of those stickers are all from the flags. So it's all the extra flags that we've included. The original model had kind of standard streamer type flags. And we thought it'd be a lot more fun to have the actual faction flags, right? So we have red coats, blue coats, and then a new pirate flag that we designed special for this model. And so with there being 6 stickers for each of the flags, that's 18. And then there's also 2 nameplates for the ship. So you'll see in some of the images, there's a Minerva, and in other images, there's Fortuna, the namesake of the model. And so that allows for additional playability in the sense of if you want to have one name or the other. This ship originally was submitted to BDP as Minerva when the Blue Coat faction was available in Eldorado Fortress. And then after that series, those figures were no longer available. So then the name was changed to Fortuna. But this is kind of a callback to that as well. So there is a Minerva nameplate as well. If you happen to have some of those old Blue Coat minifigures, you could use those and have a whole nother ship with it as well. So.
We have another question. Can you just explain further a little bit about the minifigures?
Yes, so these minifigures that are included, so there's 19 minifigures. We have a variety of officers that are included. There are kind of like a carpenter that you would expect to see on any wooden ship. We have kind of the Marines or soldiers that would also be accompanying a midshipman. Historically, you would have younger officers in some of the ship crew. We have a captain's daughter, a cook. We have all kinds of different characters throughout the ship itself. But yes, there's 19 minifigures total, and then there's also there's technically 20 minifigures, but there's 19 that are playable with on the ship. And then on the very front of the ship, we have an additional minifigure, and it's kind of the statue on the front.
And then another question online is regarding the anchor. Do the anchor lines coil together or separately?
Separately. So yes, they are separate functions in the sense that they wind up differently. So there is this barrel here that is a selector switch. The quarter tile here allows you to choose the port or the starboard. You shouldn't say left or right. I'll say port and starboard. But yeah, so that allows you to independently choose those. So they don't go up at the same time. You do one and then you do the other.
We should move on to the next set.
Yeah, I can show you real quick the bottom of this so you can kind of see some of those anchors of how that works. So there's a drivetrain down here, and that barrel allows you to select forward or starboard or port in that as well. So this is a very sturdy model. It is solid in a sense, and that's another really cool thing. Oh, lost my top. But with how the designer was able to get the curved bow shape, but then also have such rigidity in the hull is great. And another interesting fact that the designer of this model taught us, and it seems counterintuitive, and then you think of it and it makes total sense. And that's all of the flags facing forward, and that makes sense because the wind is traveling from behind. You think the ship's traveling is going forward, so you would think the flags would go backwards, but they don't because the wind is actually what's powering everything. So the wind goes the same direction as the ship goes. All right. Now we can go on to Alchemist Shop. So this is Alchemist Shop by Schramm, who is a fan designer in Canada. I should have mentioned that the fan designer for Privateier Frigate Fortuna is from Australia. We have a couple different things here. So we have some new minifigures that were included with this set based off of the submission. So one of the things that happens is when we are working on our models during the review process is new elements continue to launch. And so the palette that fan designers are designing with are just a snapshot in time, but new elements continue to launch and will be available in future series. And so during that time, we're able to start working with some of these newer elements that will be coming out. And so that's why sometimes you'll see the minifigures often will change. And as newer exciting things come out, then we want to start working with some of those things. So we have some of the new castle factions included in this model. This is definitely in the medieval castle realm. It does work very closely with the medieval blacksmith from Lego Ideas and the Sleepy Dragon Inn that was from Series 9 that will be available to crowdfund later this year in October. But all in scale with each other and all work really well together. So one of the couple of the other things that are included with this set, so there's this cart here. So it also has kind of some of the iconography of the potion. The potion shop that's here, it has this cool little feature where you can open up the cart and display the wares for when you're done traveling. There's a little payment box that's on the back here, so where you keep all your payment, all the money is stored in there. And some of the other different items from the trip. For like example, there's a sack and a loot that are off on the backside. So when the alchemist is off making their rounds, they have everything they need. So we'll get to the main model itself. So as you can see, there's a great little spring on the side here and fountain. We've added all kinds of decorative plants around because what alchemist is good without having plenty of herbs and things for their potions. This front planter has a lot of things that you'll notice throughout the build, where for some of the stickers that we made for this model, we tried to include the plants that were included around the model. So that the alchemist is sourcing their ingredients from their garden. And then we can get towards the back here. You can see there's a beehive on the back here, and where honey's used for some of them, as well as some of the mushrooms. We've made some minor changes to the signs here and created some new stickers there for the dual-sided for the sign from the entrance. And then we have the wonderful potion on the roof. We changed the back of the background of the potion bottle to be these gold ink tiles. And that helps really pop the bottle on the roof. This is such a cool feature of this model. So on the inside of the top floor here, we have the bedroom for the alchemist, and then we have a fun little Easter egg on the inside here where a lot of BDP models have miniature builds of other models that were inspirations to them. And so in here we have a miniature model of the medieval blacksmith from Lego Ideas. So really, really highly detailed model for how small this is.
We have a few questions online.
Okay.
One of them is there a name for the alchemist?
No, I don't think there is a name for the alchemist. Some fan designers will name their characters. For example, Maria Mind the Brick from Series 1, Old Train Engine Shed. She had named all of her characters. That's the only characters I can remember. And then also her other model from Series 9, Woodbrick Freight Depot. She named the characters in that model. But otherwise, generally, we don't name characters. Yeah, that's a great question though.
Another one from Instagram. Is the shop on a large plate or is it brick built?
It is large. It's a plate. It's not a base plate. So technically, yes, it is brick built, or we could say it's plate built. There is a couple different size plates around it to give it kind of this more organic shape all the way around. But yes, so the base is plate built. It is not a base plate.
We have another question. Scale-wise, does this medieval set work well with Lego Ideas Blacksmith?
It works really well with the blacksmith. In a little while, maybe we can bring the blacksmith over here and show you next to each other how they work. Work well side by side, along with some of the other models that are kind of in this scale, but maybe a medieval modular scale, if we call it that.
Those are all the questions so far.
Cool. All right, so we'll get to the next level here. So all of the levels will separate easily. The chimney works throughout all the different levels as well. There's a nice little fireplace in this side here. And then we can get to the first floor, or depends on where you're at in the world if this is the first floor or not. So this is where all of the potions are sold and where the alchemist is selling her wares. You'll see there's a couple different stickers that we've created for this set. To this sticker here specifically is around the cost of each of the potions that are being sold, and those are all represented in different various forms throughout the model. We can spin this around so you can see some of the detail here. One of the really cool ideas that the designer had here is this open drawer. It's a brick built window on its side, but it gives it the illusion that this is a drawer that's being pulled out, even though it doesn't slide in and out. But I thought that was a really cool feature that was included in the model. And then, yeah. And here we have some of the other minifigures that are included. A nice highly coveted Kraken Knight, and this is kind of more of a this character is going to be somebody that would be visiting the Alchemist Shop in the sense. And we have the Alchemist here.
We have a question online of how many minifigures are in this set.
There are 8 minifigures, I believe. Yes, 8 minifigures. We're going to get to the final sorry, there's 9 minifigures. This is one of the other helpers coming through here. And in the book here is a printed tile that has some potion recipes in there. And then there are 9 minifigures. We're going to get to the last one that is hidden here in a second. This is the ground floor. And in here, this is where all the potions are being brewed. So you can see there's some fun new elements that are being used, or recently new elements that are being used to create some of the potions that are being done at the fireplace here. A mortar and pestle, some brewing chambers here. We have some herbs being hung up for drying here. Here's some ingredients for how to make each of the potions. So each of the potions that are listed for sale on the on the first floor also have an ingredients list down here in the kitchen where they're making everything. And then we have around the backside, there's just more ingredients and storage. It's just loaded with details all around. And then there is a bookcase, a hidden bookcase that will open up. And in the hidden bookcase, we have the scepter or the wand that the alchemist is using to imbue their magic. We have a hidden book here as well that has some extra detail in it. And this is how they do their transmutations. And then underneath the stairs, there is a hidden ghost. So this is where we have our 9th and final minifigure. You can pull the ghost out here. And then there's the final minifigure. So any more questions on this set?
There's one regarding the pink minifig. Just curious about the wig, and it appears to have a little bit of a hole in it. Would you be able to touch upon that?
Yes, so there is this is a wig that has been used for a couple different characters throughout the years. So it does have, this mold itself has been used. So the hole in the top of the head is for different accessories for for, I think it's used for some Disney princess characters, might have some Friends usages, and so I think there's some elements that can stick into the top of the head there if you wanted to have those there.
Those are all the questions from online.
Oh, that's backwards, that's why. There we go. Cool, so that is Alchemist Shop. All right. Cool. Move that over. And then now we'll get into the sushi restaurant. Maybe we could grab the medieval blacksmith so we could show the scale too. That would be good. Oops, some of these over here. All right, this model will need some space because we have a lot of modularity with this model. So this is the sushi restaurant designed by Brick Project. You may remember Brick Project from Series 6 as the designer of the gold mine expedition. And so this was their next project that they had submitted, and it is the sushi restaurant. As you can see, there's a lot of wonderful detail packed in this model. It's quite large. It is not built on a base plate, so it is plate built like many of the other models, but that allows us for additional flexibility in the length and width of the model. And as you can see all throughout, there is all kinds of detail packed into this.
We have a question online. Can the train be motorized?
Yes, there is an option. The tram that is here, it can be motorized. There's a way to do it. I believe the fan designer will have some instructions available for you to do that. It's a little bit more work that needs to be done with it to motorize it than with the pieces that are included. But it is possible and was designed to be done that way. So yeah, so there's a tram on the side here. The nice thing about this model is the tram can be fully separated and you can choose how you would like to have this displayed. So for example, this track is also in 16 stud increments. And so if you wanted to, you could have it side by side. So there's two tram tracks running in either direction. If you wanted to have this model set up in a 16 stud depth format, or you can leave it in the standard 32 inch or 32 stud depth. And we'll push these to the side. And so then we can start looking at some of the other features of the model. So another cool area is the doors that open, that slide open and shut here. These go this way and this one goes this way. Yep, and that allows you to see into the tea room. And then we can start to split this apart and see all of the other detail that's included on the inside. So a nice benefit of this not being hinged is it allows you to display it in many different ways. So for example, if you wanted to display it end to end, you could do that as well, and have it be different shop fronts from the front. If you had a thinner shelf, then this would fit. There's lots of different modularity and ways to display this model. You could also include the train track in the middle if you would like as well, to help split some things up.
We have a question online. How does it look aside the other modular buildings?
It's roughly the same scale, so you can see there's a little bit more width in it. Maybe, for example, we could grab, this isn't a modular building, but is a little bit taller. This is quite a tall modular, but you can see kind of how this works in scale with maybe some of the other models. So this is the Art Factory from Series 6 that will be shipping in a couple weeks. All right, let's get on some of the detail on the inside here. So there's a lot of detail packed in here. You can see there's part of the kitchen that's over here, as well as the bar here where you could sit at to have your sushi. There's menus on the wall here that we did for some stickers, and then portions of the tea room that is up on the second floor. So all of the floors are accessible. There's no magic floors where you can't reach them. This is a very well thought out model, just from the little bit of detail. So you can see there's a ladder here to get up to the owner's room, where they have their tub, their instruments, drying racks, some of their furniture, a fan. And then you can remove this roof as well over here to see the fire pit that is here to the side for cooking.
We have a question online. I'm just curious, how can I buy this?
So these sets will be available for pre-order on February 16th. So sets will be available to pre-order for 1 week. So from the 16th to the 23rd. And when you pre-order these sets, so what's different about BrickLink Designer Program is these sets all use official Lego elements. They're manufactured in Lego factories, assembled together there, and then they are shipped out to customers. What's different is that they are pre-order only, so we only manufacture the amount of sets that are sold, and then we have a small buffer for damage and lost shipments, and etc. But yeah, so these are made to order. So when you pre-order on February 16th, these sets will ship sometime in late June to early July. So here's the other side of the model. This has a continuation of the kitchen and some of the food that they are preparing. You have the stairs to the second floor to the tea room and some of the other minifigures that are included in this set, as well as the other half of the upstairs where the bed and a bonsai tree exist. As well as some fun balconies that overlook the cherry blossom tree. We have a little pond out here with some koi fish, and this is a swan that is, or no, it's not a swan, it's a crane that is also brick built here in the water feature. And then we have some of our additional minifigures that are here. We have a patio or a balcony for the tea room here. And then, as you may have seen, this is another way to access the front here. There's a small little pass through to the storage room, as well as some of the sushi chefs that are here. And then again, on the side here, this is another side of the building you can get in to see. So yes, this is filled with lots of detail. There's stuff everywhere within this model. So it is quite the fun set. Any other questions around this model? Oh, and the cart. Yes. Last but not least, the cart. So this is a food cart that exists outside of the restaurant as well. And it has all kinds of great details with inside of it, extra plates and bowls and chopsticks, etc. And then different treats that are available for sale on this side.
We do have a question regarding discontinued pieces. Do you know which pieces get discontinued in advance?
For these models specifically, or parts that are in production, parts are kind of always kind of going in and out of production. So we have a good idea of what they are, and some we don't have any control over, and they might disappear. And so that's why sometimes you'll see things be swapped out in models, whether that was a part that was no longer available for us to use, or we have new elements launching, and so then we will replace them in light of a new element coming out that we think is a better fit, or I should say the fan designer would prefer to use. Cool. All right. Well, that'll close that up. Real quick, I think we can go and take a look at, I know there was a question earlier about the Alchemist Shop and the medieval blacksmith from Lego Ideas. And so you wanted to see kind of the scale and how these two models work together. And so this is the two of those models together. So you can see there's a lot of commonality between the models, so that if you are displaying these two models together, they exist within the same universe, right? So that was something that the fan designer said that they had a lot of inspiration upon, and they wanted to have it so that when you had the Alchemist Shop, that it fit with other models that fans may have also. So, yeah. They work really well in size together, and as well as the Sleepy Dragon Inn that is in Series 9 is a little bit larger, but it is the same height and kind of same overall footprint and build style to expand this collection. All right, let's go on to Walt. So this is Walt, our lovely little robot here. And so Walt is, this is a designer from France, our second designer from France this series, because Brick Project is from France as well. The designer Lewan did this as well. And so one of the big changes that we have made to this model was it has an additional crate that comes along with the model to store all the additional faces that come with Walt. So one of the cool features about Walt is that he can be your desktop companion at work, or to have on your desk at home, to store, to display maybe your current mood, or to tell others how you're feeling. Has all these wonderful personalities that exist through different face plates on the face here. And so in the model that was submitted, they were loose, and we one of the design challenges we were thinking around is how do you have a way that we don't just lose all of these extra elements that are included. And so that's how we came up with this storage crate. And so this storage crate holds all of the additional face plates that come with Walt, depending on how you would like his face to be. And then we have these cabinets that are on the end as well. And these store additional tiles. So it allows you to have flexibility in what faces you want to create. You can use the standard faces that come with the model, or you can create your own expressions. I think there's also kind of a really cool thing that was included, and that is these half round tiles that are here for the various power states of Walt. So the antenna here, you'll note, is green. And some of the images that we have online, when we pop his brain core out here, you can change his antenna to red as if he's powered down. Or maybe you could say, I'm a little bit sleepy today, or I'm not feeling very social, and you can put your orange in. So there's a couple different ways of customizing him here. And then on the other side of this, we also have all of the blue tiles that are included, or I should say medium azure, for customizing the face as well. And there's a lot more selection of tiles that are included in here in this color. So yeah, so this is the crate that comes along with the model. Through a lot of, this may look like a lot of additional elements that was added to the model, but we were actually able to save parts in total. So this model itself actually has less elements than we started with. So there was a lot of element savings throughout the design of Walt that we were able to do to simplify things. And so we were able to add this without influencing the part count. But yeah, so you can see there is, I'll show you how this pops in real quick. But on the back side of Walt's head, there is a 2x2 inverted tile that is here. And if you push that, that is what pops the brain core out. So you can grab it. And this is kind of his power fusion core for his brain. And that's how you can attach different faceplates on. So you take the back and attach it in. And that allows you to pop the different faceplates in. Other than that, his fully articulating, so it has multiple points of articulation, all of his fingers, the wrists work in multiple directions. You can give a pretty solid thumbs up. And then same with the legs. The legs allow you to pose in different ways. You can see that he has, you can kind of get real creative in how you want him to be displayed as well. So it was a lot of fun, and we've been taking him on different trips as we travel around to our various offices, and has been a fun little companion to have with us. So been a great little model here. And then one of the things is also, don't want to forget the back where you can see his batteries. So so in the back there are some batteries that we made, and so these are what powers Walt. Yeah.
We do have a question regarding prices. Have they already been published? All of the prices for the sets?
Yes, prices have been published on the website, so you can go there and see each of your local pricing for wherever you are in the world.
We have another question on YouTube asking, is this the official BrickLink channel?
It is. This is us.
And then we have another one of, when will influencers be allowed to show off their review of their Series 7 sets?
It's in, the review date is in early February. I don't know that off the top of my head, but it is, I think it's around the 6th or 7th, something like that in February. So that will be coming up soon. All right, then we have the antique collection. This was a model we had a lot of fun with. So you can see there is this highly detailed tufted chair that is here. A lot of detail was captured in this, and just how ornate some of the decoration is around the chair. This is a really interesting model because it is the first non-minifigure scale set that we've done for BDP. So that is, for those fan designers that are out there, know that we don't have to use models that are minifigure driven. For example, like with Walt, there are no minifigures in that model. This model does have some minifigures in it, but they're used more as statues and decoration rather than minifigure driven for the story. We have a small side table here that has some books that are displayed on it. And then the star of the show here is this ornate cabinet. And so this cabinet has some function built into it. So you can see these tassels on the doors operate and open up here. So you can see all of the knickknacks and trophies that you have displayed within your cabinet. This is where we had a lot of fun with this model, was what are some interesting items that we could include in here, things that maybe are a little bit more rare or unique. And so that's where we were able to include several different elements that will be unique to this set. I think there's 9 in total. We have the micro figures that are here in the front. These are unprinted dual molded versions of some characters that have come out in other sets. And we also have an unprinted version of the monkey. So you can see it is a dual molded monkey, but the face and details are not printed. And so therefore it is more of a statue that is included. We have an unprinted bird that is included. There is an unprinted dog on the side, and then probably the star of the show is the goat. So this is a new variation of a goat. It doesn't have any of the printing on it, so the horns and the face are not printed on it. And so that will be quite interesting. We have some other knickknacks that are in the middle here as well. And then on the bottom, this is where we had some fun with the Ninjago team internally, and we're able to include some new elements that just recently launched on January 1st. So we were able to showcase the 4 original ninjas and the new hoods that they were wearing, as well as some of the golden dragon and a new version of Ryu who doesn't have any printing on it, so it is more of a statue of Ryu. And then we also have 4 of the legendary weapons that were included in Ninjago. So a lot of really fun little Easter eggs that were included here. The fan designer of this model is from Japan, and so it was a really fun tie-in in the sense of being able to include the Ninjago elements with this fan designer. So we have one last feature here is that the drawers do open. And so we don't currently have anything stored in here, but if you do want to store things in here, there are 3 drawers that all open up and they fully pull out, so you can store whatever you would like in the model. One of the cool features of this model too is that you don't have to leave what this model comes with on the inside in this model. You could display your own valuable minifigures or trinkets or jewelry or whatever you would like in here. It has it's an endless possibility of what you could put into this model.
We do have a question online.
Mhm.
How do the parts in the cabinet that have no printing, does that not go against the rules of no new parts?
So the rules of no new parts is that we typically can't do elements that are not currently in production. So because they're not printed, they're currently in production. This is kind of a loophole, maybe is a way to phrase that, in the sense that the no new parts is because in order to go as fast to manufacturing and production, we have to utilize existing elements. So therefore, we can't print new elements in the lead time with creating those new elements. But if something is an unprinted version of itself, well, it's already created, so there's no additional complexity done with that. And historically, there hasn't really been a reason to have an unprinted version of something, whereas here it makes total sense. And so if you were to put the goat in, for example, the privateer frigate Fortuna, it wouldn't make sense to have an unprinted version of it in there. So therefore, it has never really been done. But yeah, this is the perfect model where it made sense to have it, and so that was a cool way of having some new elements in here.
We have another question. Are the yellow circles meant to be like lights?
Yes, there are some yellow circles. Yeah, you can probably see it from the bottom. Those are meant to be. They're like 2x2 boat studs underneath each of the shelves, and those are to be lights that are built into the model. Yep. And also something to point out too is that we've added rubber feet to the bottom of the model as well, so that it doesn't slide around or slip or shake easily. So that is something that was another improvement that we made to the model. Yeah.
We do have questions regarding the other sets we've already looked at.
Okay.
Is there an opportunity to view what we've already showed? Where can they find that?
Yes. So you can. So this is being recorded. So you can any of the past models that we've worked on or that we've talked through. You can see any of that through our YouTube channel. You can see all of the images for these models on our product detail pages on BrickLink in the BDP area. And then, stay tuned to our social media, to our YouTube channels, where we'll be talking about these models through the next couple of weeks as we lead up to crowdfunding on February 16th.
We have a quick question about the Fortuna is this the largest BDP ship?
It's definitely the largest BDP ship. There's only been a handful of BDP ships, but this is also it's even bigger than uh, the Black Pearl set right now, or Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. Um, so this is quite an impressive set. It is very large, and even with how tall the model is as well, you can see in the end. Um, this is quite a large set.
We have another question, which applies to the Sushi Restaurant and the Alchemist Shop. Can you switch out the colors of the leaves on the trees?
There are not included. I'm sure you could easily do that if you would like to. For example, if you wanted the cherry blossoms on this side to be a different color, you could do that. We do not have the parts included in the set to do that, but you could. The beauty with all Lego sets is that if there is something that you do not if you're not particularly fond of, it's very easy to modify it.
We have another question regarding antique. Is there a reason behind the unprinted figs? Is the idea that they needed to be painted, or was it just an artistic choice?
It's just an artistic choice. It was something the fan designer was interested in when we proposed it as an idea. Um, it's also kind of a good way to showcase some different things that we can try to do with this, where we do have limitations in how we can go to market, but there's also ways that we can try to bring some new things in as well, not in just new elements but new ways of trying things. So as you if you've been following along with BDP for since series 1, we're always constantly trying to evolve and find new ways of making the program interesting and relevant for fans based off of the feedback that we're receiving. And so however we can do that, we're going to try to find new ways of improving things without having to impact the recipe too much.
Amazing. Back to the ship. Do the cannons have the same feature as the Black Pearl?
I'm assuming that you're referencing how all of the cannons can slide in and out, and then the portholes open up. And that is no. They're all individually controlled. With this Technic structure that's in place, it wouldn't be possible.
We have another question regarding the minifig number on the ship. So they believe that 14 would be the max. They were just wondering how there were so many included on this.
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. So 14 would be the max that we would include in sets when they're submitted to BDP. But that is not a Lego rule per se as to how many minifigures you're allowed to have. That is a rule that the BDP team that we put into place so that the amount of minifigures being included in a set doesn't influence the voting. And so, for example, with this set, I think it had originally 14 because that's the maximum you can have with a 4,000 part set. Um, we will go in afterwards or after a model is selected as a finalist, work with a fan designer to find the number of minifigures that makes sense for the model itself. Um, and we can play around with it as needed there. So for example, some sets where I think Lost City is a great example of this, in that Lost City is meant to be abandoned ruins, so we only included 2 minifigures in that as they were exploring the ruins. This is a set where, and I think Siege Encampment from series 4 is another great example of where we increase the minifigure count a lot, because obviously there's a lot of areas that need to be occupied by minifigures, or a lot of tasks around the camp that need to be done. So it makes sense that there's more minifigures with it. This is another great example of a lot of the different cannons that are included with this, operating the anchors going up and down, having all the different positions filled around the ship. You need to have more ships or more minifigures available. So
We do have a question about how long is the ship in centimeters, and just wondering.
the ship's about 80 centimeters long. Yeah, and I think it's 60-ish, something like that tall. But it is quite a big ship.
We also have a lot of questions regarding the sales and sort of the process of this becoming the
Yep.
final design. Would you be able to speak on that?
Yeah, so one thing that we get questions on is for the sales are, why are they brick built? Why are they not cloth? Why are they not fabric sales? And so again, along with we don't have cloth, we don't have string or rubber bands or things like that that are included in the BDP palette. There wouldn't be sales that would fit this, even if there were cloth sales available. Again, we can't create new elements, and so that's how a kind of more creative solution is using the brick built sales to do that. I believe the fan designer does have patterns available for this as well, though, that they will make available for fans to purchase, and so you can make nice sales out of cloth or cardstock, and it has the one-to-one pattern for making those. So, but otherwise, yes, it's we don't have the ability to create new elements or cloth or use existing cloth elements. So you'll see we don't have cloth elements or loose string. All the string that we use has molded studs on the end. And so those are just some of the limitations for manufacturing for BDP.
We have another question. Will BrickLink send out an email when they're available to pre-order?
Yes, yes. So there will be several emails that'll probably be going out, and those will be reminding you that pre-orders are going live. We'll remind, or there'll be an email going out when pre-orders are live. We'll continue with the additional or the kind of live demand on how much available inventory we have. So we guarantee 30,000 sets of each model to each of the fan designers, and then based on how sales are going after the first couple hours, we can then utilize some demand from sets that are selling a lot more than maybe some of the sets that are not selling as much. And so hopefully over the whole course of the 7 days that the sales are live, we won't get into a place where something is sold out. We still do have a cap of how many sets we can produce, but as much as we can limit them and make sure that they're available that whole time for fans to purchase, we want to make sure that we can do that. So cool. If you have any other questions, please chat with us on social media. We're on the forum on BrickLink. And then, yes, we will be going live with these sets on February 16th for crowdfunding. If you go to, there are several different ways to sign up for notifications. There's a couple different links within social media to set a calendar reminder. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed these sets, and we'll talk to you soon.